A plane coming from eastern Ukraine, the city of Kharkiv, an industrial town, flying to the Turkish capital, Istanbul. While it was in the air, it put out a hijack signal. Now, we know from our affiliate CNNTurk that it is believed that a man on board the plane said quite simply he knew there was a bomb stashed on board and he wanted the plane to divert, not continue to Istanbul, but instead fly here to Sochi itself. Now, what we know now is that plane is now on the ground. It landed in the Sabiha Gokcen airport in the Asian side of the Turkish capital, Istanbul. It's now in a safe zone in that airport, and according to one Turkish Transportation Ministry official, security forces are checking the plane for that device. Now, that would lead to the conclusion that the 110 passengers on board are off the plane and presumably safe now, and that perhaps whoever caused this threat, said to be a Ukrainian national at this point, is also perhaps in some form of custody, or at least isn't considered to be a palpable threat to those passengers anymore. But the reason why, of course, there's great sensitivity to this is the demand that the plane would fly to Sochi by the man who made this threat on board, and of course this came in right in the middle of the opening ceremony here of the 2014 Winter Olympics here in Sochi. That plane would have probably flown near or across the Black Sea, and I'm standing right on its eastern coast here in Sochi. Jim?
We don't want to speculate, but it's not speculation to say that because the opening ceremonies themselves were underway, because of the history of threats here, Russian officials and regional officials have been on a heightened state of alert.
Certainly, and you heard the last 48 hours, the toothpaste tube threat, the threat that potentially US officials were concerned that maybe someone would try and smuggle explosives onto an aircraft, often they thought bound from Europe to Russia. Maybe Sochi is its final destination, and that feeds into this threat as well, because Istanbul is one of two places in Europe from which you can fly direct to Sochi, the other being Frankfurt. So perhaps part of all of this concern is the fact that Turkey was the final destination. Ukraine, eastern Ukraine, not a place necessarily with historic lengthy links to the diaspora emanating from the North Caucasus and southern Russia here. So you don't immediately, when you hear that, think of the obvious link between here and eastern Ukraine. But still, whatever was said on that plane was serious enough that a hijack signal was sent, but not serious enough that necessarily the pilot followed the demand of the man on board and went to Sochi. It is now on the ground in Istanbul. I think that may have been its destination. It's not clear if it was going to Ataturk, the airport on the European side, or where it is now Sabiha Gokcen on the Asian side of Istanbul. But it is on the ground, and as far as we know, the people on board the plane are now off it, simply because a Turkish transportation official has told us that security forces are now checking the plane to see if there's a device on it.